Welcome to Stocks to Watch, a platform to help you make informed investment decisions. I'm Ashley Berry, and we're welcoming David Mansfield, CFO of VinFast Auto, listed on the NASDAQ as VFS. The prominent brand in Vietnam specializes in manufacturing electric vehicles. They're on a mission to create a green future for everyone with a portfolio of electric SUVs, e-scooters, even e-buses. They export to the US, Canada, and soon Europe. David, great to have you on. Excited for this conversation.
Ashley, thanks very much for having me on the show. Very excited to speak to you about VinFast. Look forward to the conversation.
Fantastic. So, the electric vehicle market has experienced significant growth in recent years. 2020, electric cars constituted less than 5% of global new car sales, but this figure rose to approximately 9% in 2021, further in 2022 to 14%, with sales surpassing 10 million units. So why don't we jump right in, introduce the company, its products to those unfamiliar with it, and please tell us more about how VinFast positions itself within the EV market.
Yeah, great intro and great framing of the question and the market, because VinFast was exactly established to capitalize on the growth and the transition to EVs that you've outlined and highlighted in your question. So we're a very young company. We've only been established just over 6 years, but we've already developed a full portfolio of EVs and, as you said, e-scooters and e-buses. And we also have a fully integrated battery business. So everything from battery cells through energy storage, grid scale energy storage. We have already rolled out most of our EVs in Vietnam. So we'll have, by the middle of next year, a total of 7 different EV models for the Vietnamese market. And again, as you highlighted, we're rolling those out for international markets as well, starting in the major markets in the US, Canada, and Europe, but have expansion plans beyond that as well. We've also importantly built our business off of understanding how to manufacture and deliver vehicles at scale to begin with. So we've built out a very large manufacturing capability in Vietnam. It's a great location from which to build and export vehicles and EVs in particular. We're already, as I said, delivering vehicles into North America and Europe, but we've got plans to expand that, ambitious plans to expand that, extending deliveries into the Middle East, other parts of Southeast Asia, India, Indonesia, and elsewhere. Another important aspect of the business is that we're backed by and we're established by VinGroup. VinGroup is Vietnam's largest private conglomerate. It's a massive component of the economy in Vietnam and touches all aspects of people's lives, from real estate through schools, hospitals, retail, malls. And with that backing as a corporate sponsor, we feel we're very differentiated as a new EV entrant.
So, David, I understand your company has recently seen a surge in deliveries. Perhaps you could discuss your go-to market strategy, starting in Vietnam and then, of course, expanding globally.
Thanks, Ashley. Yeah, so delivery volumes are up quarter on quarter, but there's still substantial room for further growth. Last quarter, we delivered 10,000 EVs and 28,000 e-scooters. We anticipate future volumes to increase based on both domestic demand and internationally across our entire product portfolio. We're excited about delivering into our new markets. To date, our international go-to-market strategy has been focused on the core overseas markets in the US, Canada, and Europe. We've picked those high-volume EV markets in each of these locations. So in the US, we have 15 showrooms in California. In Canada, we're located in the major metropolis locations. And in Europe, our initial showrooms are located in France, Germany, and the Netherlands. We recently announced ambitious plans to be delivering cars in a further 50 global markets by the end of 2024. So again, we're really we have ambitious plans to have a global distribution footprint. We've incorporated a hybrid distribution model in that strategy, so a combination of both direct to consumer owned and operated showrooms that VinFast run and operate, with also integrated into dealership distribution model, where in certain locations we'll be leveraging distribution to be able to sell our cars. And this will allow us to expand more rapidly and also in a capital efficient manner. It offers consumers the best coverage for VinFast cars in many of the markets that we plan to distribute into. So when we think about those different markets, we divide them up into two broad models. The first is model one, where we are operating some degree of manufacturing capability within those markets, and we'll also be operating our own directed distribution. Those kind of markets are in North America, in Indonesia, India, the Middle East. And then we plan to set up some factories in Indonesia and India to support that distribution capability. Outside of those markets, we'll also be distributing into many other locations, and we'll be leveraging third-party distribution capabilities for that. And with the recent launch of our VF6 and VF7, they are a B and a C segment car for the lower price point in Vietnam. We have almost completed the full lineup of our vehicles. We're very excited about the 2024 prospect of delivering those cars across all of the markets, but not just in Vietnam, into all of the markets where we're targeting globally.
Fantastic. And I have to imagine the environmental positive impact is substantial. The United States International Development Finance Corporation expressed interest in VinFast by signing a letter of intent regarding a potential $500 million loan for expansion. And apparently you plan to establish a factory in the US. Can you give us a little more information on that and the loan? And if approved, what would contribute to that?
Yeah, it's a very recent announcement. We came out with that statement at the recent and the ongoing COP28 meetings in Dubai. So yeah, we announced that the IDFC would be signing a letter of interest to extend financing to VinFast for the development of manufacturing of lithium-ion batteries in Vietnam. And we're really very pleased that VinFast has been recognized as an ideal partner for development finance in ASEAN, and in particular in Vietnam. We'll be devoting that development finance to the expansion and creation of our battery cell manufacturing capabilities in Vietnam. And it'll be an important component of developing clean transportation infrastructure. We've also got a number of other development initiatives that we're contemplating with the IDFC, including future collaborations around building out important charging network infrastructure and supporting public transportation initiatives and networks with our e-buses. So a lot being done. But actually, the IDFC loan is really a dialogue around what we're doing in Vietnam.
Mm-hmm.
Separate to that, as you point out, is our planned factory expansion in North Carolina, and they're quite separate, but nonetheless important. So we have signed and committed to building out a very large factory in North Carolina, where we'll be producing VinFast cars for the US and North American market. The US market is obviously a key component of our expansion strategy internationally. So we've already broken ground on the facility as of July of this year. Our first vehicles will be rolling off the production line there, and we anticipate in Q3 of 2025. The cars are going to be making, they're really tailored for the North American market. So although we produce vehicles across all vehicle segments, everything from teeny tiny two-seater cars in sub-A segment category, which are very popular in some Asian markets, all the way up, we'll be producing C, D, and E segment cars. For us, they're the VF7, VF8, and VF9. We'll be producing those in North Carolina. We've got capacity for about 150,000 there. Importantly, we'll be creating significant jobs in North Carolina along with that. So overall, the plans are to spend probably about $2 billion between now and the middle of 2026 in creating EV capacity in lots of different areas. North Carolina is one I think I mentioned we had planned expansion into India and Indonesia as well. But about 70% of that amount of money will be invested in creating the North Carolina factory facility. Importantly, we also have the capacity on site to bring in additional suppliers who'll be working alongside us. We've got a very large capability to build a supplier park there. And eventually we'll be building out cell manufacturing capability in the same site location. So two different topics, but nonetheless important and important parts of our future growth strategy.
Sure. And supporting the U.S. economy is so important. North Carolina is just a state away from me. So personally, I really appreciate that, being from the United States. Despite the growing EV market, achieving profitability remains a challenge, really, as evidenced by companies like Tesla, which took over a decade to reach quarterly profits, even with government subsidies. So what strategies is your company employing to address current challenges, cut costs, and accelerate the journey towards profitability?
Sure. Well, I wouldn't want to underestimate what Tesla have achieved. And I think it's important to recognize that we as EV manufacturers recognize what Tesla have done in blazing a trail for EV manufacturing globally. They've really demonstrated how to build demand for sustainable transport by producing technology-centric cars and innovative cars. Obviously, it took them 10 years to reach profitability, or however long it took them. But as a fast follower, it'll take us substantially less time. But what Tesla have done is they demonstrated how efficient and modern manufacturing techniques in producing their EV cars can also lead to really enhanced operating margins when you're operating at scale. Some of the other global manufacturers that are dominant in the EV space, some of the Chinese manufacturers also demonstrate how to do that. And again, those are the targets that we have in mind when we think about how to improve our profitability. But so in the EV industry today, so I think big companies like Tesla and BYD, the Chinese manufacturer, are very much in the lead, and we anticipate learning quickly from those players. Our strategy to get to profitability is really to operate at sufficient scale. So we've developed a full portfolio of vehicle models, as I said, across all vehicle segments. What that allows us to do is to deliver cars that people want to buy at lots of different price points, so that we can tap into the belly of the volume curve, where most people buy their cars in the, let's say, the $25,000 to $45,000 price point. Those are our B, C, and D segment cars. And then we have, as I mentioned, our large E segment VF9 as well. But scale is an important component of getting to profitability, leveraging the advantages that we have in Vietnam. So Vietnam is, as I mentioned, an excellent place to be building and exporting cars. Our operations there are very low cost. We operate as an organization in a very lean fashion, and we're very agile, which is an important element in our cost reduction initiatives. So as we produce the models, as we produce the 7 EV models, all of our e-scooters, the e-bus portfolio, and we've gone through the bulk of the R&D cycle in developing those products already, you'll see our costs come down, because that will be a lower component of our ongoing operating expenses. So I think an important element of what we are able to do in developing our vehicles is to operate very efficiently. So our marginal cost of developing a new vehicle model is much lower than, say, a Rivian or a Lucid, for a number of different reasons. So scale, efficiency of R&D. Another element that will allow us to quickly achieve profitability is the platform, the vehicle platforms that we use. So try to maximize overlap in parts within the vehicle platforms that we've developed. That's an important element in how you get cost efficiency when manufacturing at scale. And again, the likes of BYD lead the market in that area. But we're learning very quickly, and we have targets to raise our margins by operating in that way. So overall, we're operating at negative margins at the moment as we roll out new vehicles, but we have very clear plans on how we get to a point of break even. As I said, we're completing the R&D cycle. When we get through the bulk of our capex on future operating expansion and capacity expansion, what you'll see is that all of our operating profit will drop to the bottom line and generate a lot of positive free cash flow for the company. So that's a simple way of saying, or what maybe a long-winded way of saying, we're going to make more cars and we're going to make them more efficiently. That's our path to profitability.
Yeah, and given the fact that you have so many different models, the scalability to me sounds endless. Really, it's like trailblazing efforts that you're doing right now. I also understand following your initial public offering, your stock price nearly doubled. So for those that are listening or watching, given your mission, given your ambitions, can you just give a little bit more about why right now is the time to invest in your company?
Well, yeah, and it was a very exciting listing on NASDAQ, both on the listing day itself and subsequently. But we're very well positioned, we believe, to benefit from some strong investment themes of vehicle electrification across the globe, and also growth in ASEAN markets. Vietnam is the fastest growing economy in Southeast Asia, and also a key beneficiary of what is termed China Plus One. So this offshoring of manufacturing capacity away from traditional locations in China as a result of some of the geopolitical tension and the desire to separate supply chains. And as I said, Vietnam is a major beneficiary of that, and many people are looking for ways of investing in that theme. VinFast is a very good way of doing so. But overall, we believe that battery EV penetration will accelerate globally based on a number of tailwinds, things like regulation, things like a lowered cost of batteries, and batteries, battery prices are falling. We think that manufacturers increasingly will provide consumers with affordable EVs in smaller vehicle segments, as we are doing ourselves, and so we very much want to compete in all of those price points. So if you want to invest in an auto company that is going to be an auto company for the future, with a full product portfolio that covers all elements of electric transportation, then VinFast is a good candidate. Our distribution is not going to be regional, it's going to be global. Again, comparing ourselves to the likes of some of the other popular EV names like Rivian, Lucid, or some of the Chinese names, where they are quite regional in their product distribution strategy. Our plan is to distribute globally, and so we're very excited about having lots of markets to tap into. But fundamentally, with all those factors, we think the share price as it is now just really underrepresents the opportunities that are embedded within VinFast. You mentioned EVs, you mentioned e-scooters, we've got e-buses, and all of the different battery businesses that we'll be able to expand and build on. So if consumers are interested in a stock that represents that growth opportunity, VinFast is a great candidate. And indeed, we'll be we have upcoming vehicle launches, we've got upcoming store openings. We'll be showcasing our products at CES if people are looking to go to CES to see what's available for consumers in upcoming electronic showcases. VinFast will have a big booth there, and an opportunity for people to experience our cars.
Well, certainly the way of the future, not to mention your commitment to environmental sustainability. Thank you so much, David Mansfield, CFO of VinFast Auto, again listed on the NASDAQ as VFS. We appreciate you joining us here on Stocks to Watch. Sounds like there are a lot of milestones ahead for you, so we'll be watching. Thanks again.
Thanks, Ashley. Pleasure to join you.